I want to continue talking about a few things. Basic defenses with this technology. When I talk about basic defenses, there are ways to defend yourself from the mind control. Now, there's really no way to defend yourself from the directed energy attacks. If they want to attack you, they can do that. Okay? But this is not about zapping people with directed energy. They know how to zap people with directed energy. All this torture, assassination, all the training, research, and development behind all of this is for the purposes of mind control. It's about mind control. It's not about zapping people with directed energy. People need to understand they're using trauma to depattern your mind, to clear the neural pathways of your brain, so your brain can be repatterned with this fabricated and falsified stream of electromagnetic frequency waves. That's what's happening to you. So what are some defenses? Well, for example, you can multitask. Multitasking is, thinking and doing multiple things at one time. Okay, so such as whistle while you work, singing and dancing, etc. Okay, writing a letter while listening to music, reading a book while listening to music, engaging in outdoor activities while you're listening to music, etc. Okay, it's called multitasking. It's creating multiple threads of thought. Okay, so when you create multiple threads of thought, there's no coherent pattern for them to download and integrate back into RNN data. They can't make sense of what they see on the screen. Remember, this is a supercomputer. Okay, so this is about establishing single coherent patterns of thought, which can be remotely measured and integrated back into RNN data. Well, they can't remotely measure what they can't see on their screen. Okay, so multitasking is very effective. And now there are other ways to defeat the technology, but we'll talk about that in just a second. But you need to understand that multitasking is very effective. You're not actually thinking and doing multiple things at one time. What you're doing is you're toggling back and forth between thoughts, and it's creating these additional electromagnetic energy inside the neural pathways of your brain. So there are multiple patterns, and they can't make sense of what they see on their screen. It's called multitasking. Another very effective defense to this technology is called spontaneity, being spontaneous. Everything they do is about patterns, about for example, mind control is based on decoded thought patterns. Organized talking is based on choice reference patterns, etc., etc. Everything's based upon their ability to identify and develop coherent patterns of thought. Pattern recognition, that's what this is about. Okay? So being spontaneous, now I'm not talking about short-term planning. I'm talking about not planning at all. I'm talking about speed of thought actions in your life. Okay? So spontaneity is very effective to defeat this technology because they have to build patterns of your behavior and make sure that those patterns of your behavior are consistent with the electromagnetic emissions, the synaptic responses that they can see on their screen. That's how they build a cognitive model. Well, what they have to do in order to be able to achieve that is predict your choices in advance. Remote neural manipulation is based on their ability to predict and influence your reference choices during thought composition. I've said this before. That's it. The system, the supercomputer, whether you know it or not, is constantly predicting your choices. So, you need to understand spontaneity is very effective because when you think of something, as you're formulating your thoughts and preparing to act, that's called thought composition. Thought composition, okay? As you're formulating your thoughts and you're preparing to act, okay, the supercomputer is predicting those choices in advance. Why? So they can verify their technology. So you think about going to the grocery store, the supercomputer automatically reads that pattern of thoughts. It's okay, she's going to the grocery store. Okay, or he's going to the grocery store. Okay, so you get in your car and you're headed to the grocery store. Well, guess what? They got their organized stalkers behind you in a car, in a marker vehicle. They got their organized stalkers in front of you in a cheating trigger vehicle. Okay, they got outlier vehicles and advanced vehicles, a command vehicle behind them. They've got people waiting for you at the grocery store, at the entrance of that grocery store. And guess what? They got somebody on the peanut butter aisle, which is what you thought about, which is the reason why you went to the grocery store to begin with. Why? To verify their technology. It's called verification. Without verification, mind control cannot exist. They have to verify the technology is working properly. If it's not working properly, they have to start all over again. They have to go back and increase or decrease the phase, frequency, and amplitude of the stream of electromagnetic low frequency waves that they're targeting your brain with. So spontaneity disrupts all that because it disrupts the pattern. I mean, if the pattern was you going to the grocery store so they could verify their technology, and on your way to the grocery store, you suddenly pass the bank and say, I'm going to turn into that bank. You didn't think about it beforehand, you just suddenly did it. speed of thought. You know, you didn't plan to go to the bank, you planned to go to the grocery store, but you were spontaneous. As you passed the bank, you swerved into the bank. Okay? They couldn't predict that. You just defeated their technology. It doesn't matter that they know you're being spontaneous. You know that and they know that. What matters is the pattern is still broken. The pattern they were trying to develop and identify and remotely measure and integrate back into R&M data for the purpose of building a cognitive model of your brain just failed.
I ain't want to give y'all the whole video, but coming from that guy, he's a seasoned TI. This part one of understanding what we're going through. I mean, we all got a lot of stories of what we talk about, but this is the technical side of it. And I'm going to show y'all part two of a video that backs his theory. And it's coming from the actual people who know all about the technology. So, y'all stay tuned, man. I'm going to try to figure out how to work this editing stuff. You know, learning is the key. But yeah, y'all stay tuned.